At a glittering party filled with the wealthiest families, laughter echoed when a white billionaire family mocked a black woman CEO, thinking she was out of place. They never imagined that the woman they humiliated held their future in her hands. Minutes later, she destroyed their pride with one powerful decision, canceling a $7 billion deal. The grand ballroom shimmered under crystal chandeliers, every corner glowing with wealth and status as the city's most influential figures gathered. For the Thompson family's annual gala, gold-lined walls, waiters carrying silver trays, and a live orchestra created an atmosphere that screamed power and privilege. The Thompsons, one of the richest white families in America, walked through the room with their usual pride, shaking hands only with those they believed were worth their time. Guests whispered, laughed, and competed to impress them. Yet, among the sea of diamonds and tuxedos stood a woman who carried herself with quiet grace. Alicia Carter, a black CEO who had built her global tech company from the ground up. She wore a navy silk gown that flowed effortlessly, her natural beauty, enhanced only by her confidence. She didn't need to boast. Her presence alone commanded respect. Some admired her from afar, curious about her calm demeanor, while others overlooked her, assuming she was just another guest with connections. Alicia sipped her drink slowly, scanning the room with steady eyes, unbothered by the glittering display of egos around her. She knew her true power didn't lie in appearances, but in decisions that shaped entire industries. The Thompsons, however, noticed her in a different light. Their arrogance made them see her as someone who didn't belong in their world of wealth and entitlement. To them, she was an outsider intruding on their carefully guarded circle. They didn't yet realize that the woman they were underestimating was the one who held the fate of their billion-dollar empire in her hands. The night was only beginning, but for Alicia, this gala would soon become the stage for one of the most unforgettable lessons in respect and power. As Alicia moved gracefully through the glittering crowd, exchanging polite smiles and handshakes, the Thompson family finally approached her. Their expressions filled with condescension. Mrs. Thompson, draped in diamonds, tilted her head with a mocking smile. "Oh, you must be one of the planners." "The decorations are lovely," she said loudly enough for nearby guests to hear, her tone dripping with sarcasm. Alicia's calm eyes met hers, but she remained silent, offering only a polite nod. Mr. Thompson joined in with a smirk, glancing at his wife before saying, "Are you sure you're supposed to be in this room? Staff usually come in through the back entrance." Their two grown children laughed, whispering cruel jokes as if Alicia's very presence was a mistake at their prestigious event. The laughter drew the attention of other guests, and soon the air was heavy with an uncomfortable silence, people watching but refusing to intervene. Alicia stood tall, her posture unshaken, her dignity unbroken, though deep inside a fire burned. She had faced prejudice before, but what struck her most wasn't the insult, it was their ignorance. They had no idea who she was, no clue of the power she carried, and no understanding of how their arrogance would cost them everything. Holding her glass firmly, she gave them a soft smile, the kind that held more strength than anger, before gracefully stepping away. The Thompsons chuckled at what they believed was victory, proud of their petty humiliation. But what they failed to notice was the sharp turn of heads, the shifting glances of those around them who already suspected the truth. Alicia wasn't a servant, nor an intruder. She was the very woman they desperately needed. And the price of their cruelty was about to come due, after the cruel laughter faded behind her. Alicia walked away with elegance, her every step measured, her composure unshaken. She moved through the ballroom as though nothing had happened, yet her mind was already at work. For weeks, her company, Carter Global Tech, had been finalizing a $7 billion partnership deal with the Thompsons firm, a deal so vital it would determine the survival of their crumbling empire. They had spent sleepless nights preparing, counting on her signature to rescue them from financial ruin. But the family, blinded by arrogance, hadn't even considered that the woman they ridiculed was the very key to their future. Alicia, however, kept her silence, sipping her champagne with quiet power, allowing the tension to build. Around the room, whispers began to circulate. Guests who had seen the cruel exchange shifted uncomfortably, their eyes following Alicia with new curiosity. Who was this woman who carried herself like royalty, yet endured such insults without a single harsh word? Her calmness unsettled them more than anger ever could. The Thompsons, still amused by their mockery, failed to notice the growing unease around them, failed to recognize the danger in the silence. Alicia paused by the large windows overlooking the city lights, her reflection staring back at her like a queen preparing for battle. She thought of the years of struggle it had taken to reach this height, every door slammed in her face, every doubt thrown at her, every insult she had swallowed. Tonight she would not need to shout, argue, or defend herself. Her revenge would be delivered with a pen stroke and a decision that would shake the very foundation of the Thompson empire. For now, she remained patient, allowing them to drown in their own pride. Unaware that their downfall was already sealed, the music softened, and the host of the gala stepped onto the stage, his voice echoing through the grand hall. Ladies and gentlemen, tonight we are honored to welcome a woman whose vision has changed the face of technology and whose company now leads the global market. Please join me in applauding the CEO of Carter Global Tech, Miss Alicia Carter. Gasps rippled through the room like a sudden storm. All eyes turned toward the woman in the navy gown, the very woman the Thompsons had mocked only moments before. Alicia walked gracefully to the stage, her head high, her expression calm but commanding. Guests erupted in applause, some out of respect, others out of sheer astonishment. The Thompsons froze where they stood, their arrogant smiles collapsing into horror. Alicia took the microphone, her voice steady and clear. Partnerships are not built on money alone. They are built on respect, trust, and dignity. Without those, no deal has value. Her words cut through the silence like a blade, each syllable carrying the weight of her authority. She glanced briefly at the Thompsons, their faces pale, their pride shattered in front of the entire crowd. The humiliation that once belonged to her now belonged to them. Whispers spread rapidly, people recalling the cruel remarks, the mocking laughter, and realizing the gravity of what had just unfolded. For years, the Thompson family had ruled with arrogance, but tonight their ignorance had unmasked them in the worst possible way. Alicia didn't need to mention their names, everyone already knew. Her presence alone was a declaration of strength, a reminder that true power is never loud, it is undeniable. And in that moment, the fate of the $7 billion deal hung like a sword above the Thompsons' heads, waiting for her final choice. The next morning, the business world woke up to shocking headlines splashed across every news outlet. Carter Global Tech cancels $7 billion. Deal with Thompson Enterprises. Phones buzzed, investors panicked, and boardrooms erupted in chaos. The once untouchable Thompson family was suddenly facing a storm they could not control. Their empire, already fragile, began to crumble as partners withdrew and stock prices plummeted. All of this destruction had come from a single decision, Alicia's decision. Sitting in her glass-walled office overlooking the city, she remained calm, reviewing new proposals from companies now desperate to align with her. To her, canceling the deal wasn't about revenge, it was about principle. The Thompsons had shown the world their true nature, and she had shown the world hers. Respect mattered more than money, and dignity was priceless. Meanwhile, at the Thompson mansion, silence replaced arrogance. The family that once walked through parties with their heads high now hid from reporters at their gates, their empire slipping through their fingers. Their laughter from the gala echoed back at them like a cruel reminder of their downfall. Across the globe, people celebrated Alicia's courage. She became a symbol of strength, a woman who proved that no amount of wealth or power could stand against integrity. For those who had ever been mocked, doubted, or disrespected, her choice was a beacon of hope. And as Alicia looked out at the skyline that night, she felt no regret, only pride. She hadn't just protected her company, she had taught a lesson the world would never forget. Power without respect is nothing, and arrogance always comes with a price. The story of the Thompson family's fall wasn't just their tragedy, it was Alicia's victory, carved forever into history.